Hello, I am Callie.
And I'm Lauren.
And welcome to the Book Common Room podcast.
Just a reminder that this podcast is very much amateur podcast.
We're doing it because we want to.
We're doing this because it is a passion project.
We love literature.
We love books.
We love books.
And we love talking about it.
We do.
And we don't really research what we say, so it is purely experience-based.
Stop calling us out. We do some research.
We're students. We're intellectuals. We're intellectuals.
Don't say that.
Just kidding. But this podcast is very centered around learning to love literature and whatever form that is. But yeah, we're here again doing one last interview because there's only two of us.
Whoa.
But we're going to interview Callie the same format as my interview, and then we're going to move on from there with the books we kind of planned out.
Yeah, then we'll get into the fun stuff.
Yeah.
This is just because we, I guess, like talking about ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's more for us than you.
It is.
So. But just for you to get to know us. Callie, give us a little nutshell spiel before we get into it.
Okay, well, I'm Callie. It's kind of like English. I'm studying comparative literature.
I told her to do that.
She did. I had changed my major a couple times, and I was like, oh, well, I'll just do English because I love books. And she's like, no, you have to look into comparative literature. And if you've never heard of it, that's okay. At our university, there's only, a couple people graduated, so I think there's only 10 of us right now.
Yeah.
In the whole major.
And the whole department.
In the whole thing. It's fun.
Yeah.
But I love it. So I'm doing it, so it's literature, but you do it with the second language. So I'm doing English and then also Japanese. So, like, you read...
Intellectual.
The whole goal is you're supposed to read literature from all around the world.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's awesome. I'm having a lot of fun. What else? Trying to think. I just work, go to school, hang out, read books.
Yeah, we love that. We love that. I wish I had done comparative lit. I think about it all the time.
It's fun.
If I could go back, I would do that. And like,
it's a different mindset. It's a lot more, like, theories. And there's a lot of just, like, the theory of short story. I'm taking a theory of adaptation class right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So from literature to cinema.
Yeah.
It's really fun, but...
That's super cool. And, like, the whole thing, too, about comparative lit is that to read the literature from around the world, you need to be able to read it in its original language. Yeah, so that's the whole reason you have to learn a second language. Because if you read something translated, that's not the author's words. It's not their words. So you have to be able to actually read it. And it's just if you really want to, like, learn about literature in its totality, in its, like, standard form, you have to read it in its own language. Yeah.
Can I learn all the languages around the world? No. But
that's
we can
dream. That's okay. Superpower if we could have it. But love that. Love you. Okay, Callie, what got you to read?
So mine's the same as Lauren. It's Harry Potter.
Always.
There's just, so I was thinking back. There are a couple books that I read before Harry Potter. My dad has read to me since I was a baby. I've kind of just always been reading. Like, they're really cute pictures of me with, like, Dr. Seuss.
Aww.
And I, like, started to read pretty early on.
Yeah.
So I've always loved it. But if I think back, the first book series that really got me to love reading is Harry Potter.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know. There's just something about it. And then, like, afterwards, I would say, like, Fablehaven and Percy Jackson would be on there. But there's just something about Harry Potter that just has the baseline.
I think so. And
Fablehaven came after.
And Percy Jackson seemed to be the books that kind of pulled you out from only reading Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They were fun.
And they're fun to escape into.
They really are.
Even now.
Yes. I am currently rereading Harry Potter right now.
I just started as well.
I love it.
It's kind of like when you're an English or comparative literature.
There's so much heavy stuff.
Sometimes you have to take a break.
You do.
And
you really
escaping is into Harry Potter is fantastic. And like
we won't
get into details. Like, we understand like the controversial aspects of Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling.
She who shall not be named.
She who shall not be named. Which is kind of tragic because like tragic. She wrote it and it definitely changed my life. But at the same time, like, we understand that there's been hurtful things. Yeah. And
that could be its whole podcast.
Yeah, it could be a whole podcast. But so, like, if that's not your cup of tea, that's okay. Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing of this podcast is, like, there'll be we're going to be reading things that we won't love. Us, the ones that curated the list. Yep. But it's because that's part of learning to love literature is being able to, I don't know. Yeah. You gotta manage the nuances, and it is important to talk about. But it is important. We're not going to talk about it now, but we just needed to.
Time and place.
Yeah, time and place. Amazing. That got you to read. So let's segue into the 8 books that made Callie.
8 books that made me. First one, as I said already, Harry Potter. But to get more into it, I think I love Harry Potter so much because I love the, like, fantastical aspects of it, totally. But I also just love the character focus.
Yes.
And one thing you'll notice from, I think, every single book I have on this list is I love character work. I love character focus, and I think this made me realize, like, so Lord of the Rings is not on my list. I like world building, but, like, with Harry Potter, the world is built
for the characters.
For the characters, but, like, the world itself isn't really all that developed.
No, the magic.
And the magic is super loose, and the money system doesn't really make sense.
Quidditch makes no sense.
But,
either.
like, true. But her characters were written out so well, and they're so good, and I was able to fall in love with every single one of them, even, like, the villains.
Yeah.
You love them. Mm. But, yeah, that's what that started off for me.
I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that. Getting into the minds of the characters is more important than, I'm sorry to say, but the description of the world, which is half of Lord of the Rings.
This is true. Which my sister would totally disagree. She loves world building.
I know.
She could read something that just goes.
And that's the thing about literature. It's like, what do you like about it? And you love the character aspect, which for me is more compelling as well. Yeah. But I still love Lord of the Rings. So
yeah, which is fine. I also love Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then my next one is 1984 by George Orwell.
Yes.
So I had read dystopian, like Hunger Games, Divergent, all that kind of stuff, but this is like the first, like, dystopian book that really made me think about the world we live in right now. And, like, the potential of what evil people could do to mess up our world. And it, like, really, like, brought in this characters, like, how would humans react if we're in a situation like this? If there's, like, a big brother, or if, like, everything is taken away from you that constitutes being a human. Love, relationships, privacy is all gone.
Totally.
What would happen? And then I'm not going to spoil it, but the very end, like, when you're tortured and everything's taken away and you're convinced that 2 + 2 = 5. Mm-hmm. It's just fascinating to me.
That is wild.
Right?
100%. And the thing about, and I've never read 1984.
I
have a few things I've gotten away with for far too long.
This is one of them.
Being one person that enjoys reading. Is that, like, even though I haven't read this, I know about George Orwell, and we had to, like, study him as a person, as an author. And, like, 1984 really hits the aspect of language.
That
like,
too.
The degradation of how we speak.
Yeah.
And
controlling and changing language.
Yeah. And how that has a major impact on how we think.
Yeah.
Is how we speak.
Or going back and rewriting the past. So then you can control what's going to happen in the future. There's just so many levels to it that is kind of freaky, but it's so good.
Amazing. And then, I love it. We could talk about that all day.
Okay, so then my third one is Jane Eyre. Same as Lauren. This is also probably, so I read 1984 and Jane Eyre for the first time about
the same time.
So 1984 was, like, the more dystopian. Jane Eyre was just, like, the full-on classic British romance that really, like, was, like, the first book with, like, I don't want to say quality writing, but writing that's just different. Like, there was more to it. You could tell she really thought about, like, every single sentence. And
we love Charlotte.
And then her characters again.
Yeah.
Just like you followed Jane from a child to adulthood and everything she had gone through. There's just more depth to it than I had ever read before.
Yeah. Love it.
Okay. And then moving along. So this is more recent. My favorite book of all time, which most readers can't say. Most readers are like, I don't know how to answer this. I can. different.
She's not like other girls.
I'm not like other girls. My favorite book of all time is Sword of Kaigen by Emma Wong. Like, okay, there's a theme. Like I said, character works. But this one is between a mother and a son, which I don't think I have ever read before. Mm-hmm. And so it introduced me to just different types of relationships. Mm. But then how people deal with trauma. And how they, like, hardships, trauma, how they deal with it. And then also, like, why people are the way that they are. Yeah. There's a very specific character, the husband, who is horrible. He's so cold.
He's also a myth the whole time.
He's a myth the whole time. You don't really get to know him until the very end.
Yeah.
But you learn, like, why he is the way that he is. And then Misaki, I just want to be her. She's so cool.
Oh, I know.
But just each character, you learn about who they are, why they act a certain way. And then that people can change. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I just loved it. And there's just so many things.
I know. I love how it's the perspective of a mother as well.
Yeah.
And how she's not I don't know. Like, I don't know if you've ever had moments in your life where you, like, think a certain way or, like, do something and you're like, wow, I kind of suck.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a monster for thinking this way or feeling this way or doing something like this. Mm-hmm. And she's, like, unabashedly, like, I don't know, putting that in the... I don't know. She's, like, raw in the book. Mm-hmm. And it's not like she's particularly proud of, like, the things that she does that, like, she feels guilty about thinking or feeling. But she doesn't hide it either. And I just really enjoy getting into the mind of her in that way to be able to see, like, oh, like, she's kind of like me. Like, I do these things, too.
This is true.
And, yeah, it's like that character work in her writing is incredible.
But then the other thing, too, I think about this book, this is the first book I read where the author did something so bold.
Oh, I know.
I will not spoil it. But once you get to the halfway mark, you'll know. Did something so bold.
Especially for a character-driven
I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Like, how do I explain this without spoiling it? But there's this character, there's this moment where you think there's going to be so much hope. And there's going to be so much progression. Mm-hmm. And the world that they live in is going to change. All because of this one thing.
Yeah, all this one moment.
Taken away.
And you're, like, left to wonder.
And then then you, along with other characters, you really do feel like hope is gone. It's just gone. And Emma Wong is just amazing. She released another book. Have you read this?
No.
Oh, I own it. It's not as good, but it's still really good.
Yeah. Wait, no, you did tell me about
Water.
This. Yes.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
But and not only was it bold, but it also was, like, I think that in every story, the stories that always are compelling to me are the ones where, like, hope is gone, but people still try. Mm-hmm. Because, like, even if there's a glimpse of hope, it's not, like, for a person's character, it's not as moving until, like, they still try when there's absolutely no reason to. Mm-hmm. And also, like, it's just amazing. But, yeah, I love that book. It's so incredible. I should rearrange my 8 maybe. But it definitely, it's an amazing one. Love it.
Okay, the next one I read, I just finished the last book yesterday.
Oh, yes.
Assassin's Apprentice. So this is my first, the reason this is on my list is because it's my first real, like, besides Lord of the Rings, like, hard fantasy book.
Yeah.
I have only read, like, a couple Brandon Sanderson books. I didn't ever finish Mistborn. I only read the first 2.
I never finished the Stormlight Archive.
Yeah, I haven't even started.
Mainly, I was following for the characters, Talon and Dalinar. Anyways, I'm sorry. I really did. The first one, incredible. I would reread it. I just haven't gotten past it.
It's okay. It's okay. But this is the first, like, real hard fantasy book, and then, like, really long series. Long series kind of terrify me.
Yeah.
So this is the first one that has 15 books in it. And I started it last year, and I decided, like, I'm just going to do this. But another just, like, masterful character work. You literally follow this guy from birth until the end over 15 books. It's a whole character thing.
That's crazy.
You follow his whole entire life. And that's kind of a spoiler, but also, like, you get to a point where you just know. Anyways, and I think that's the first time I've read a book that's taken so long with one character Oh, it's just so good.
Yeah. I have to try it.
You have to try it. It might take you a year because they're not short books either. They are long. Okay. Last 3. So my 6th book is The Book Thief by Marcus Dvořák. So I haven't reread this book since I read it, but this is the book that got me out of the like Harry Potter, Fablehaven, Percy Jackson phase. This is what got me out of it. I read The Book Thief and I realized what literature could do and how it could open my eyes to real world situations and not just like escapism.
Yes.
Because I knew about the Holocaust and stuff like that. But this was the first thing I read that was like, oh, that's what it was like for people.
Yeah.
I'd never really understood that before.
Yeah. And like, or like reading Anne Frank.
Yeah.
And like literature like that. And like what we mean when we say like it got us out of the phase of Harry Potter. If you're still in the Harry Potter phase, good for you.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Everybody's
in their own different reading journeys.
We just want to preface that because like I was in a Harry Potter phase for years, and that is totally fine because to each their own. Like everyone's reading for escapism and that, but for us, we found it very valuable to see literature on a more holistic spectrum, and that not only is it for escapism, but it's also allowing us to grow empathy and sympathy because, like, I know we're introduced to perspectives we wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's all I have to say about that one. The next one is Little Woman by Louise Alcott, and this is a little bit of a cheat. Because I like the book, okay? I like the book. The book is good. Did I get really bored with Meg's storyline about halfway through when she just couldn't figure out money? Did I get really bored? Yes. The movie is so good.
Are we talking about Greta Gerwig's adaptation?
Yes, Greta Gerwig's adaptation.
We just need to make it clear. There's several.
There's
very many adaptations of Little Woman.
Yes.
But we're talking about Greta's adaptation.
Miss Greta. I need to give you a hug because you're amazing.
Oh, yes. Like
Barbie.
But hello. That's another hot topic.
We love Barbie.
We love Barbie, though.
But Little Woman was the first book where I really felt like I could see myself in a story.
Yeah.
Like the rest of these all had their own purpose, but I was never really able to like put myself into something and feel seen.
Oh, I see.
If that makes sense. Like this was the first book where I was like, I am like Meg in this situation. I am like Joe in this situation. I am... We all hope to be like Beth. I am like Amy. But then I was able to really like see, and then it was just like a bunch of girls just day-to-day life with their like,
yes,
it could be seen as like trivial dramas, but it like validated, I guess is what I should say.
That.
Like validated the simple life. And I think that's why it hits me because I can really just like recognize myself in there.
Yes, I feel like we're in a generation that's regressing a lot into the simple life, like everything that I've been in my algorithm, which is just like, I mean, I chose that kind of content, is showing that all that girls want is a Highland cow and like land, which is so true. Like all I want to do is read and bake bread and take care of my farm animals.
I love that.
But I think the other thing about Little Woman is that it made me nostalgic for something I've like from a book that I've never experienced before, which is crazy. And I'm sure there's a word for that, but it's like you read it and I think it's you're feeling nostalgic for like your own experiences, but you're reading it through something you've never read before, which is kind of crazy. And I think Little Woman does that for me because of how tightly knit family is in that book.
Family, and sisterhood.
I love sisterhood. Like sisterhood, brotherhood. I don't want to say tropes because it sounds limiting when you say them like as tropes, but they're like definitely like patterns to how those are like written and put into like literature and media. But like I love brotherhood, sisterhood stories. Yeah. Especially when you read Little Woman, like they are roughhousing.
They are. They really are.
They are roughhousing just like the boys.
They are.
Like I look at them and I'm like, wow, like my brothers could never. So, yeah.
I love it.
Love that.
And then, okay, so my last one is If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin. I kind of mentioned this earlier, but this is the one where I really recognized how much I love realist American literature.
Yeah.
There's that grittiness. There's just something eye-opening about it. And then I'm going to die on the hill to, like, make sure James Baldwin gets on those great American author lists.
If he's not already.
He's not. Well,
is he not?
He's a black man. And he writes about, so If Beale Street Could Talk is about this man who is falsely accused of raping a white woman.
Oh, yeah.
And so it follows his trial and then his girlfriend who's trying to, like, get him out of that. Mm-hmm. But he also wrote Giovanni's Room, mm-hmm. which is about a gay man in Paris. Mm-hmm. And so he just writes about topics that...
Of marginalized people.
Yeah, of marginalized people, so that's probably just why. But... he just writes them in a way that is so human, and there's just something touching about it, and he doesn't, like, tiptoe around anything either.
Yeah.
But
I love James
Baldwin.
You're good.
That's a different guy.
That's a different guy. That's like rookie mistake. Just kidding. But mm-hmm. I've read some literature, but mm-hmm. I haven't read, like, a complete piece from James Baldwin, but I don't need to know that he's an amazing writer.
Yeah,
and that there are things he's done with the written word mm-hmm. that few can.
Oh, 100%.
And I was first introduced to him by the documentary I Am Not Your Negro, mm-hmm. and fantastic. Highly recommend it. Mm-hmm. And you just, it's not just how he writes, it's how he thinks and how mm-hmm. he talks.
Yeah.
Like, the way he writes is literally how he thinks. Like, he's very bright, very mm-hmm. incredibly bright, and mm-hmm. I really like how he does spotlight the marginalized.
Yeah.
I love that.
Those are my books.
I love that. That's amazing. All right. Well, I'm excited about this question, but do you have any books?
See, you were so nice in your answer. You did a cop-out.
I did, because you wrote...
talked about a book you like.
Yeah. I also was going to let you talk about the book I was going to say.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're saying. Okay.
So, we're good.
Okay.
But what are books that you've regretted reading?
So, when I first thought about this question, Verity by Colleen Hoover first came to mind. That book is just not good. There's really not much left to say.
And you are harsh.
Okay, so I feel like it's kind of a trend right now to hate on Colleen Hoover, and I don't really want to join that train. So just as a person, I like to stay away from books that are popular that I know I probably won't like, so I don't be a hater. Yes. This is one of those where I read, and I'm a hater. But that's all I'm going to say. We don't need to talk about it anymore. It's just problematic.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. Just give me sick. Anyways, the next one, this one is super controversial.
Okay.
I feel like Verity hating isn't all that controversial. I did not like Where the Crawdads Sing.
I feel like it's very hyped up.
By Delia. Okay, it's got a 4.6
on the
star
movie?
Rating on Goodreads.
Interesting.
The book has 4.6. People love this book.
Oh.
I will say the first half is really beautiful. You start with this character, and her dad's abusive, so her mom and her siblings all leave her, and she's alone with this abusive dad. Mm-hmm. And the setting is gorgeous.
It's like Huck Finn.
It is.
A girl.
So I don't know if this is what she's doing, but it feels like Huckleberry Finn if it was a girl, because she does go down a river and eventually meet a black man.
Okay, I would say so, yes.
Yeah. It's not the same journey. They don't travel down a river.
Yeah.
But together, like in Huck Finn, but she does meet a black man on a river.
Goes down a river and has an abusive father.
And it's in, like, the marshes. Anyways, but...
Does her dad die in the end? I don't know. We'll
her dad does die.
Oh. Okay. Spoilers. Spoilers. We did not do a disclaimer.
No.
We'll put it at the
sorry.
beginning. We'll put it.
We can just edit that out.
Well, yeah. We might, yeah.
Anyways... But then you get to the second half of the book, and she introduces something that I think is so problematic. It's almost supposed to be like a love romance type thing. Mm-hmm. But he's the one that teaches her how to read and write. And then he, like, forces himself on her, and she doesn't like what's going on, okay? She explicitly doesn't
almost like a complex where it's like, because I showed you this, you owe me.
Then, like, be okay with it.
Yeah.
And then he leaves, and just, like, leaves her alone. And her dad, I guess it's not a spoiler. Her dad is just dead by this point. He dies in, I think, like the first like 10 pages.
That's literally Huckleberry Finn.
It is. So he just
leaves. He doesn't know that.
No.
Huck doesn't know.
He doesn't know. Sad. Anyways, so he just leaves. Up and leaves because she rejects him. Mm-hmm. And then she goes on her whole journey, meets this like horrible guy that just like uses her. And then he just comes back and we're just supposed to accept that she loves him now. Because she was with someone even worse than him, so now she's okay with him. Even though he wasn't good. I don't know. It was problematic.
Yeah.
Didn't like it.
Yeah.
I thought it was icky. Plus, the author is an alleged murderer. If you don't know about that, you gotta Google this.
What?
So her and her husband traveled to some country in Africa. I don't know which one. I don't remember. But if she were to go back to this country, she would go on trial for murder. Allegedly, they killed a poacher. Allegedly.
I hate poachers.
No, we're not.
Just kidding.
Poachers are the worst.
Poachers are the worst.
Poachers are bad.
But,
anyways.
That was it, life.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Anyways. But I don't know. I always tell people if they have heard about Where the Crawdads Sing and they really want to read it, our good friend that we've talked about before, she loves this book.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. She loves it.
I have not read
and it is very beautiful. So if it sounds like something you'll like, go and read it. I am in the minority of not liking it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have some books that I love that I know you're going to hate.
Okay.
And we will read them.
And we will read them.
We will fight about it.
Okay, last one. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. First of all, it's not by J.K. Rowling.
No.
It says it. People say it is.
I know.
And on Goodreads, she's tagged. No, it is by John Tiffany and Jack Thorne. Mr. Tiffany and Mr. Thorne.
Mr. John and Jack. Goodness.
Mr. John and Jack. I heard people love the play. I'm never going to watch it. This book just doesn't exist in my mind. It doesn't exist. It's not
Trauma blocked. Yes.
Kate, they ruin every single character.
Yes. Okay.
Like, there's so many plot holes. Kate, Ron Weasley. Completely
spoilers, by the way.
Oh, yeah, spoilers. You shouldn't read it anyway, so it's fine.
Okay. Hot take.
Verity and Where the Crawdads Sing, go for it. If that's something you like, do it.
But
this
we are telling you.
No, don't do it.
If you are a Harry Potter fan and you're able to love this, you've done something we've never been able to do before.
Yep. That is a miracle.
Because there's just... And like, I mean, ruin, that's a loose term. Like,
yeah.
You know, they ruined the characters. Because, okay, this is the thing. Mm-hmm. There's so much fan fiction that have been out there since Harry Potter has been like wrapped up neatly.
Which is fan fiction is fun.
Which is great. I have a whole Pinterest board full of fan fiction art, fan fiction stories that I adore, that I love so much better than The Cursed Child. Any of those would have been better than The Cursed Child.
Literally.
The Cursed Child felt like someone on Reddit never read the books.
And was like,
only watched the movies. And sorry, Reddit. I love Reddit, actually. But I'm just saying, like, I just struggle. And the crazy thing about this is I stayed up till 4 a.m. reading this.
There was something compelling about it.
I couldn't put it down.
That's probably why the play's good.
So I couldn't put the book down. Because at the beginning, you're like, oh my goodness. Like,
it's these characters.
You know.
And it's
who their parents are, it's their children, and they're like different from their parents. Yep. And like what's really hard is like these people that are their parents are like heroes. And like that expectation of like meeting that and being different is like something relatable about that. And so yes, you want to read it. And then and you're just like,
what was
this?
This,
like, I could talk about lots of things right now. I could talk about with, like, things that happened that were just bad.
Bad.
And that was like a drug trip.
It really was, yeah. It ruined the characters. The whole thing with the trolley lady.
Oh, that was number one. That was number one.
What?
And she got on the top. She kept kids from escaping the train.
That's wild.
Like anything from the trolley, dear. Okay, you're just like horrified.
I thought about this. Honestly, if if she was just a witch, she would have been able to do that anyways. Why did she have to be an animatronic? You know what I mean?
Somehow,
she can wave her wand.
I glitched. I did not know she was an animatronic.
Yeah, that's what
she's an animatronic? Yeah. I thought she was just this crazy, like, Gollum night and day switch.
I'm Googling this because
let's fact check this. But you're probably right. I just, there's things about the Cursed Child that is just like, it is like the worst version of the fan fiction. And I'm sorry, that is just my perspective. And I know other people share it. If you liked it, good for you. Mm-hmm. But I'm just like, for me, and like what Harry Potter does for me, it just like, it almost made it a joke.
It really did.
You know.
Okay, there's nothing on here. I think I'm wrong.
It's like,
but when I read it, it felt like she was actually just like this robot.
But like
which doesn't make sense.
She kind of is though, like in a different way, in the sense that that's her whole job.
Yeah.
She's on the train to keep people from getting off the train.
But like she could have just been like this witch that was like,
you don't have spells for that.
Literally.
You don't. There's like spells for everything. Like that when we talk about how like magic isn't that great.
Like windows.
It's easy. You can mute yourself with magic. You can't stop kids from getting off a train. You have to give it to a candy lady.
Are you a witch or not?
I know.
We need wood.
I know. And then also the fact that Hermione was Minister of Magic.
She literally said
she never wanted to be. And maybe that's the whole thing. Like, it's like Aragorn, where he's like, he never wanted to be king, but he always was a king.
That's true.
But Hermione would never do it. She wouldn't.
Aragorn's such a complex character. Hermione's not that complex.
No.
She just, when she said she didn't want to be, she didn't want to be.
No, because she was there trying to get, like, equal rights for magical creatures.
Yeah.
And, like,
that's what she was going to do.
That was her whole thing.
She's going to continue spew.
Yeah. So, and also, like, they make Ron stupid.
The whole thing with the time turners.
Oh, dumb.
Harry pretending to be Voldemort.
Bellatrix
Voldemort
getting pregnant with Voldemort.
Like, there's...
You know, maybe that's not that
far-fetched. Time turner. Like, how she was lost in, like, time with the time turner.
I went through denial reading that part. I was like, there's no way.
Well, the whole reason J.K. Rowling had to destroy all time turners at the end of the 5th book is when you deal with time, it creates potholes. Mm-hmm. And I think she recognized that and had to get rid of it. Yep. Nope. Anyways.
So that is the hot topic of like things you've regretted reading. But what are you excited to read next?
Yes. I am excited to read Dune. I love the movies. The movies were so good. And I'm excited to read the book. I'm not much like of a sci-fi reader. That's one genre I haven't read a lot of. That nonfiction. But I want to read more sci-fi, and I think Dune is a good place to start.
Oh, for sure. Plus, Dune's a great place. It gets weird.
It's okay, but I feel like sci-fi's allowed to do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well,
maybe
I don't know.
There are limits.
It is like there is an argument out there that that the author and their son kind of ruined their
There
book
is
series.
an argument,
and it's a very large series. The movies are going to only grapple with the first 2 or 3 books.
Yeah, I think
there's like 16 of them.
There's a lot,
or something like that. But
I think he only wrote the first 4, 5. I don't remember.
I don't know if I can speak to that because I have no idea.
Yeah,
but yes, and the adaptations are fantastic. And they've taken liberties to make it more compelling for characters. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if the sci-fi is as character-driven as you normally like.
That might be why I don't read it as much.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot more characters surrounding Paul, specifically. Yeah. So that will be enjoyable. I have not read Dune at all either. So that is on my radar as well.
My sister just finished it the other day. She really liked it. Yeah. She loved the book. So
yeah, my husband loved them too.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that one.
Well, I love that. Mm-hmm. What are you wanting to read but are nervous to read?
Ooh, I'm really nervous just to read Charles Dickens. I've never read much.
Yes.
So my dad loves
he's a realist.
He is a realist. My dad loves Charles Dickens, and I think he's just so hyped as a classic author in my brain. I'm really nervous I'm going to read him and not like him. I think that's what it is.
Oh, interesting.
Because I love A Christmas Carol.
Oh, same.
So great. But I really am afraid to read, like, Great Expectations.
Oh, yes.
Because it's it's a large book.
Yep.
It's very heavy. And he's a very beloved author.
Yes, he is.
And his writing is amazing. Mm-hmm. So I'm worried I'm going to ruin that if I read it and I don't like it.
Yes.
That's why I'm nervous.
Classic literature that you don't like. Mm-hmm. I know. I feel like I'm a very naive reader, if that makes any sense. Uh-huh. I like, when I read someone that I know is like a big deal in the sense that they are very circulated and for years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
Like Charles Dickens, I read it and I'm like, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, great. Or like I'll read, I don't know, just like different authors. But then I'll like get to class.
Yeah.
And then students are like shredding these authors. And I'm like, the audacity. They are great writers. Yes. I'm like,
they've
wow.
been around forever.
No, but I think there is like a certain skill in being able to constructively criticize great authors, even if you yourself aren't that great of a writer.
Yeah.
Because I think as a reader, like at least the readership experience of literature is like, and it can be very subjective, of course, but I don't know. I think it is a skill to be able to read them and be able to not like them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like,
nice of you to say.
and I think that's what I mean by like a naive reader. Like, I just always am like, oh, of course I'm going to love them because they're great writers. But also, like, I don't know. You have to have, I don't know.
Yeah.
You have to have some sort of way of navigating that. And so you should let me know how Charles Dickens goes for you.
Let you know.
But that's awesome. I think that's everything for today.
Yeah.
That
is me.
We just wanted to get to know Callie. Hello. We love her. We love the books. And this is our podcast. We just wanted to introduce ourselves, what kind of books we're into, what books have shaped us, and like we're going to learn to love literature as we go.
True.
And we'll be reading some concerning things, and not too concerning, but for us.
Do we want to tease the first books that we're reading? Do we want to say that now?
Yes.
Can you guess? Hold on.
Can you guess?
Put in the comments. What do you think it is? What do you think it is? What do you think it is? We haven't talked about it at all. In July. We haven't talked about it.
The month is significant.
It's Harry Potter.
The suspense was killing us.
Suspense. It's Harry Potter. We're not going to like go through every single book and analyze every single one.
No.
But we have to start with it.
We just need to start with it because it is a staple for a lot of people to get reading. And which isn't always true. Like, my younger siblings could care less about Harry Potter, which
it's
kind of
tragic.
Blows my mind because, like, everything is Harry Potter to me.
Yep.
When I was growing up. But for them, like, either they don't really read or they read very different books than I do.
Yeah.
Which is like my younger brother reads very different books than I do. My younger sister just doesn't she wants to read, but she doesn't read as much. And I think it's like, I don't know, why is Harry Potter like that? Like, we kind of want to talk about that.
It's a good question. Well, that'll be our next one.
That'll be our next podcast. But thank you for joining us. If you're joining us, it may just be us for a while.
That's okay.
But that's okay.
We're having fun.
We enjoy each other's company anyways. Why we decided to just record ourselves, I don't know. But it'll be fun.
It will be fun.
And we're grateful for anyone that watches and enjoys and becomes a part of our community. So anyways, have a good one. We'll see you and talk to you next time.
See you next time. Bye.